tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with Coach John Brett.
I'm here with the vet, Mr. Ian Griffin. I thought we were doing movies today.
No.
Okay, my bad.
No movies.
No movies.
Well, we were going to do movies, but since we've had so much of these executive orders, we're going to talk executive orders.
Oh, I didn't know. Did you not hear that he signed an executive order? There's no more Congress? Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You don't even need one. Do we need
You don't need one
one?
because he's legislating from the pen.
Right, so we had legislation from the bench that we don't like,
Yeah.
judicial. Now we got legislation from the pen.
Yeah.
No, hey, you know what? Who cares about the House and the Senate anymore?
Don't
Just
need them
send
no
home.
more. Send them home.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
need them.
All right, here we go.
So, Coach, we're going to talk about executive orders, and we're going to run some numbers on it and everything. Now, I'm going to talk about Buy American first because I got some ample expertise in this. Experience, not expertise, experience in it. So,
I believe it's expertise.
yes. So, we'll see. So, give us some numbers, Coach.
I'll tell you, the executive order thing, of course, people, oh, this is crazy. Well, I'm going to put it to you perspective. The first week is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But let me put it in perspective overall. Trump was in office for 4 years, and he had 220 executive orders, which to me is too much. I
agree.
Obama had 276. Bush had 291. But that was 8 years.
Yep.
So they had about 150 or less every 4 years, which to me is still high. But then let's go back and look at historically. I was blown away. These guys here, they should have been impeached and kicked out of office.
Yes.
Sorry. Roosevelt had 1,081.
Oh, my God. Well, he did 4 terms.
Right.
But still, that's insane.
How many terms did FDR do?
Oh, what, we're talking, no, that's it? So that's the other Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So the other one had 1,008. Wilson had 1,803.
Wow.
FDR, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
3,721. So he was Biden on steroids.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he was.
So the first week, let's go down real quick and I'll let you get started. The first week, we'll go back the last 7 presidents.
Yeah.
First week, Reagan, 0.
Wow.
Herbert Bush, George Herbert, 1.
Okay. That makes sense.
Clinton, 2.
Okay.
And I'm talking about 2 one time, 0 the next time.
Yeah.
Okay. George W, 0, which I thought was more for some reason. Obama, 5.
Yeah, I saw that.
Trump, 4, because they talk about,
Yeah.
don't govern like a dictator like Trump. That
was October 15th.
Yeah,
October 15th.
And then Biden's first week, 22.
Wow.
And then let's go day 8, day 9. We're already at the 32 this week.
So I posted before, there's only a few reasons why you do executive order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you do an executive order, there's a national emergency, and you have to get something done before Congress can act. That's one reason.
Right.
Okay. You do an executive order, there's 3 major reasons. That's the first one, and that's the most legit reason. The second reason you do it is because you know Congress ain't going to pass that crap, and there ain't no way in hell your dreams are ever going to get across. So you got an executive order that bad boy.
So it's like, almost like we say elections have consequences.
Yeah. DACA, that's how
Yeah.
DACA came about. You know, Congress was not going to back my harebrained idea, so I'll just executive order, and I'm going to go to lunch.
How is that even? Article 2 is a little bit iffy on this.
And then the third one is you do it because you owe people stuff. And you got to go, I got you. You wanted the environment. I did it. Look at here. You can't dispute it.
Well, before you get into the in-depth numbers,
Yeah.
I want to say this before I forget. This should not be a surprise what Biden is doing.
No.
He and Harris campaigned on it.
Yep.
The minute that we get in office, we're going to do this.
But they campaign on unity to do it.
Yeah, well, and he also said on October 15th on my birthday that, hey, you cannot govern like a dictator.
Yep.
We want democracy.
Got to have consensus.
Consensus. What a liar.
Yeah, because we want unity until I get elected.
So we had one that was liar, and we're going to another liar. But it's less liar.
Yeah. We want a unity until I get elected, and then we want unity by submission. So anyway,
Right, talk to the numbers.
so I'm going to talk about two major policies here. I'm going to talk about the minimum wage. So what is the minimum wage? It's category 3, what I just talked about. It's to appease people who voted me in, because he lifted the minimum wage to $15 an hour for federal jobs. So understand this. Somebody tell me how many federal jobs that the starting pay is less than $15 an hour.
Not many.
That's a handful. It was I appeased my party base because they got me in, and I act like I really did something when I really didn't do nothing but sign a piece of toilet paper.
Right.
Is what I did. So that's what that one is. Category 3, not the first category, crisis emergency, not the second category, circumvent Congress. It was the third category, appeasing some people.
Don't get me started on minimum wage, $15 an hour, what it actually really does,
Yep.
if it were to go across the nation.
It's just sad. So then he signed an executive order the other day, and I had to go, dude, you went down my lane. And that was Buy American. Now, I'm all for Buy American, but he was dogging out the past administration Buy American. Okay, understand that my last job in the Army was at Tank Automotive Armaments Command, which from the time you think of it, to the time you develop it, to the time you build it, till you field it out the Army, till you do any updates you want to do to it, till you bring it back in, demilitarize it, or sell it to foreign military sales. 60% of the inventory in the Army, that was mine. That was my lane. I know about it. Anything that was not aviation, medical, communications, or bullet belonged to me. Okay, so I got that. I understand that. Know it very well. So he says $300 million in foreign engines was spent in 2018 along with the previous policy. I don't really know where that's at. I like for him to show that to somebody. But one of the things he said with the Buy American policy that President Trump had was that 50% of the components had to be American, and the other 50% didn't. I'm not going to name the vehicles or the equipment, okay, because if I do, that kind of lends into some things I don't want to talk about. But what I will say is I was at a 2-star command, and understand our higher headquarters is a 4-star command, and we had to submit those waivers when we needed to buy certain things because we kept the supply pipeline. When we had some engines that we needed the certain parts that were only made in one other country that was outside the United States, we deliberated for several weeks on whether we were going to submit that or we were going to take a readiness ding, because we don't just nonchalantly go walk a waiver across. We have to sit there and say, are we going to do the right thing or not? Will this get us 50% of the equipment still being bought American? So his illusion that we just do this all the time is a farce, because no 2-star command is going to go, here 4-star, just go sign this. It don't work that way. It gets staffed, it gets analyzed, it gets stalled out. It sees second, third order effects and goes, no, we're going to find another vendor, or we're going to do this. And then once it goes to 4-star command, they do the same thing before it goes to Pentagon. And they do the same thing before they ask Congress, for the pennies for all those things.
Yep.
Moving along. So that's the first part. The second thing is, he said, when we go out and say, well, we're going to buy from another country, he's going to post on a big old bulletin board for all the small businesses to see if they can go back and make this part right here instead. So when they do that,
Sounds really good.
it sounds good. It's like, I'm taking care of you. Let me pamper you. But
Right.
what's not understood is that small business has to bid on it. And after they bid, they win the bid, because there are rules in effect. After your small business, John Brent small business, wins, they can make this part right here for me. Then and that takes a little while. After that, you got to do what's called a first article test. And a first article test, depending on the specific piece of equipment, can be 400 hours, it can be more than that. It has to be done. We gave them the bid, we gave him the contract. He makes the piece of equipment and it falters. Now I'm back to square one and wasted 8 months. Back to square one because of his good idea. Let's just say that he did produce it though. Okay? He passed the first article test after 6 to 8 months, passed all that. We approve it. He moves forward. Then it takes what we call about 6 months to get his machines tooled up, to call admin lead time, to get going. And then we finally have what's called production lead time, when it finally starts getting going after 8 months to 10 months to start churning.
So we're 18 months minimum indeed.
Minimum for this great idea fairy that's sitting there smacking the bejesus out of him, that he don't know what he's talking about, is what I'm getting at. So he's telling
A lot of red tape, a lot of crap.
he's telling a pipe dream, is
Exactly.
what it is. And that's a shame, because readiness in the military does not wait 18 months. Readiness in the military, from the taxpayer's idea, should be that we have all that equipment ready to go at all times.
Imagine
cannot
if we
break
did
that.
that in the real world. If we wanted to buy something or build something, we had to go through all that before we could do it. We wouldn't do it.
Right.
We have the freedom not to do that. We should have the freedom to bid. I mean, if I want to look at Lowe's and Home Depot and something else to find the best bid on a lawnmower, and I make that decision over a 3-hour period, I should be able to go do that.
Yeah.
But we're doing this American first thing because it sounds good.
It sounds good.
It sounds great.
Now,
I'm American.
Now, I agree, buy American. I agree. But what I will say is the previous bill was not that, the previous administration, what they did was not that bad. They put it in there where there was some common sense. If we had to go somewhere else because of readiness needs, we just went ahead and did it.
Right.
We had to do some waivers, which were painful for everybody to go through that process.
And also, it's like me, if I want to go buy a TV,
Yeah.
and there's an American TV, and there's a Chinese TV, and there's a Japanese TV,
Yeah.
but I saved myself $100, and the TV, they have it in stock, and I don't have to wait for it. Why do I have to just wait for the American TV?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it sounds great. We want to do American jobs.
Yes.
American buy, it sounds great. But if you don't, and you're competing with that, competition is going to mean that American company better get their butt in gear. They're going to go out of business.
Right.
So what's happening to that? I mean, that's what we have to look at.
And so I just see some farce in this, and I see
Excuse me.
what I see is some people who push something, say, hey, this can get you some votes, or this can get you some support, and this is the tunnel vision that we see through, because we really don't know the process, but we're going to tell you this is the process, because they do. That's,
Of course,
that's what I see.
I'm going to go back to the executive order thing. I'm sure I'm going to break this down way too fundamental. There's some of these people say, well, you're not thinking about it this way, but I do think about it this way. The founding of our country was founded getting away from Great Britain because we did not want to be under King George.
Yeah.
King George was what we did not ever want again. We did not want one person telling people what to do. We didn't want it so much that even though we have a constitution, immediately within 4 years we had to get individual rights put in writing so we would have individual rights, so not the government wouldn't tell us what to do. Now you have one guy, the president, I'm not just saying Biden, but one guy can just say, hey, I'm going to sign this. I'm not going to go through the legislative branch, which makes laws. All we're supposed to do is veto or sign it as the president. But Article 2 gives that authority. I think that's some kind of issue that has to be addressed going forward, because more and more what party wins, they're going to go ahead and whatever the other party did, or whatever, the other administration did, or other Congress did, as even bipartisan or not, that they made a law, or then all of a sudden we can just say it doesn't work. We can change it because of one person.
So think about this. It's been said a lot, and I'm throwing it out there. The Democratic Party has been notorious, and all of them, don't misunderstand, all of them do executive orders. So all of them are guilty. But the Democratic Party has been notorious of, let's do laws by judicial branch. Let's do laws by the president. Let's do laws by everybody but the damn Congress is hired in to do it.
I know.
Because that way they can keep getting voted in off of personality instead of off substance. And that's what they've been based off. I mean, you really want to think about this. This last election was based off personality, and it was not based off substance and what they produce.
Right.
But that's the direct reflection of their Congress is majority of them are based off personalities, how they get in, and not producing a single damn law the whole time. Because we'll allow the judicial branch to make a decision on it that will make a law, that will.
It's like they're doing anything and everything they can to get away from what the founders wanted, and what the way the country's set up is. We're going to get together the consensus of states. We're going to have a union of states, but we're going to only legislate and make laws if enough states agree to it. If it's 2/3, if it's half, whatever. But that means your states are all coming together as a United States and saying, we want this as a law, or we don't want this as a law. If you have one person doing it, or 9 justices saying it's right or wrong, that's not the way this is set up. Somehow we've allowed this to happen. It's not the way it's supposed to be.
It's just crazy. And you know, the whole campaign promise, he did promise that he'll sign some executive orders on day one. Okay, we understood that. But he also promised unity. And the two things that he really ran on, Donald Trump's bad, and I will unify this nation. From day one is what he ran on. And I wish him the best of luck on it. But right now, the road he's traveling is a road that none of us have ever, are expecting for unifying. I can tell you that.
Exactly. Politics of people, when they say, I want to unify, it means they want to take their party and say, okay, we won. Now, the other party that lost, you need to come over to our side to unify instead of us working together and compromise the way we did to unify. So what happens nowadays is whoever wins says to the other, if you really care about this country, you will come over to the winning party and unify. And if you don't, you're the problem.
Unity by submission.
Exactly.
That's what we're going to today. Unity by submission.
Thank you.
Yep. That's exactly what is happening
Well, I
today.
think this was a quick one.
Yeah. So, Coach, what do you think?
I think it's great. I'm seriously a little bit concerned about the country going forward with the executive orders. I'm also with the Congress not doing what they're supposed to do. You should have differences, but compromise needs to happen. And if you're not going to compromise, you're not doing what the founders did, because the founders were all about compromise. And if we're not going to legislate by compromise and getting one party, another party say, okay, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of this, let's put it together.
Some debate.
The reason that we're not having debate is because people are terrified to say what they feel like, because either they're going to be impeached, or they're going to be ostracized, they're going to come off of a committee, or they're going to be thrown out of their party.
Or big tech gets involved because, we got some links there.
We got to do some big tech stuff. I still need to learn about this big tech stupidity that's going on.
Yeah. They're doing their own censorship. So anyway, we want to hear from y'all.
Please.
Tell us what you got. And we want to hear about this right here, about the executive orders. Do you like all those executive orders? Are they your forte? If they're not, tell us. If they are, tell us. Tell us what you like about them.
Yeah, tell us what you like about it, because I know the people that are conservative are not going to like the ones that Biden done. The ones that are liberal are not going to like the ones that Trump did. But do you like the concept of being able to have an executive order, or do you not like that?
I like the concept of the first one, category. In national crisis, you need it.
Right.
But to circumvent the Congress and...
Is it the national crisis that we have one on this Title IX transgender crap? He signed one, we just talked about it.
But Chuck Schumer has said that it is a national crisis right now of the environmental ones. They are a national crisis.
I'm glad he can determine that, and not the representative. So anyway, all right, cool.
So anyway, from the coach,
To the vet.
stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.